What's up? My name is Joop. Welcome to Shut Her Up and Shoot. So what we're doing today, we are shooting long exposure moving water. So behind me there's a creek with a few cool waterfalls. I'm going to show you my techniques, how I shoot long exposure moving water. So what do you need? You need a camera, a lens, and a tripod, pretty much. So I'm using a Canon 550D or T2i, depends where you buy it. My lens is a Sigma 17 to 50 2.8. You really need that wide angle. You need to get everything in the frame. If you're in a forest like this, there's not much room. There's always a tree somewhere in front of you. So you really need that wide angle. So 17 will be even better if you have a wider angle. That's on a crop sensor camera. Then you need a tripod. Just get I'm using a cheap tripod. Just get a stable tripod. You're working with long exposures, so you don't need any movement. So now my settings. I'm working with an aperture of about 16 to 20. This forest is pretty dark, so I don't need a neutral density filter. It's dark enough to slow down that shutter speed and get the right exposure. So a shutter speed I'm using about 5-6 seconds. Really depends on how much light you have. That's my settings. Just play around, see what it is. But you do want more than 1 second shutter speed. And you want quite a large aperture to get the front through the back of the frame all in focus. So a aperture of f16 and about a shutter speed of 5 seconds. Okay, we'll go back home, see you there, take the photos through Lightroom and Photoshop and show you the end results, show the different compositions, and go over the techniques I used again. Alright, see you there. Okay, and we're back. So I ended up with 5 decent images, and yeah, put them through Lightroom and let's see how they turned out. So this first image was the first image I shot. I set up my camera right into the water and shot this cool little stream here. So what do we have here? So an ISO of 100. Yeah, you don't need a higher ISO because you want that shutter speed as long as possible. So we shot it at 17 millimeters. The widest I can go with my lens, and f16 to get front through the back nice and sharp, and it ended up being a 10-second exposure. So what I like about this image is here in the middle of the frame, the water turned out nice and smooth, nice and silky, and I like the spread here in the bottom, and I like the highlights of the green here on the rocks. What I don't like is here in the background. It's just too much going on, and it doesn't really add to the image. Okay. So next one. This one was a little bit harder to get to. I had to climb over some logs and over some rocks, and I found this cool little waterfall. And what I like is you have the waterfall pretty much filling up the whole frame from top to bottom. I like these little lines that are created by some air bubbles that went across the frame and drag these lines in the water. So that's pretty cool. What I don't like is this log here. It's just a bit messy, and I don't like this one going through the frame here. What did I shot this at? Pretty much the same. Again, ISO 100. This was at 18 millimeters. I'm not sure if I moved the lens or whatever happened there. Again, f16, get everything sharp from the back to the front of the frame. And again, this was a 10-second exposure. And I wasn't really satisfied with the framing here, so I did another one of the same waterfall. Actually, there are 2 waterfalls, and that's what I like about this image, is that you have the second one here. Again, you see the lines going through the frame, which is really cool. I like these rocks on the side. I like this log here. Again, this guy I don't particularly love that much. But yeah, in the end, a pretty decent image. I think this is still a little bit too orange, which I don't like. And but I think the last 2 images that I shot are definitely the best images. So let's go and take a look. So this one might be my favorite. I really like the contrast in this one. So you got really these dark shadows here against the punchy white water and the punchy green moss, and just the framing of this image I really like. You get the waterfall starting in the right corner, going down, going through these rocks, and then the water, you see it flowing into the other corner of the frame. It really leads you to the whole image. Then you got this nice detail of these rocks here in the front, and again, I really like these punchy colors. Again, there's a little bit of a mess here in the front, here on the sides. Yeah, maybe if I have a little bit more time, I could clean it up, or in Photoshop, or when I'm shooting. So in the end, I'm really satisfied with this image. I think it has a lot of emotion because of the deep contrast and the punchy colors in here. And then we go to our last image. It is the same waterfall, I believe, just from a different corner, different angle. And again, here, nice contrast. I like the dark shadows, and then the punchy color and the punchy water, and it's just nice and smooth. Look at how it goes over the rocks here. I really like it, and then it spreads out here in the bottom. Again, I don't really like this area of the frame. Just a little bit too much going on. It distracts a little bit, but overall I think I really like this image. And so these last two, there was a little bit more light. I think it was a bit of a clearing in the forest. So we're at the same ISO 100, 18 millimeters. Actually, I dialed it down to f20, and I only got a 4-second exposure. And same for here. F20 and 4-second exposure. So there was a little bit more light. You might experience yourself, if you go out, that the forest is letting too much light through, and you might need to use a neutral density filter, which you certainly can. I didn't need it this time, so I didn't use it. So I keep as much detail in the picture as possible. So I also shot 2 panoramas just to show you that in this type of situation, if you don't really have a super wide angle lens, you can get everything in the frame if you need to. If you want to see how to shoot a panorama, check out my last video. I go through all the steps of how to shoot a panorama, how to edit it in Photoshop. So I did all this, and this is the result. See, I got a lot more in the frame compared to this image, and it ended up not turning out the way I wanted it. There's just too much going on in the background, but I just wanted to show you these panoramas, just to show you that you can get more in the frame even though you don't have like a 10mm lens, for example, on a crop frame sensor. And this is the second one. As you can see, compared to this image, we got lots more in the frame, although it doesn't really add to the image. And I have my camera bags sitting here, which isn't really pretty either. So I just wanted to show you that you can get more in your frame even though if you don't have a super wide angle lens. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like this. Please give a thumbs up, and hope to see you next time. Thanks so much.